This gives me no like 10 like little countdown or so. So it's suddenly it's working or it's not working, and there we have it. Anyway, hi, I'm Jen. For those of you who don't know me, I'm here every Wednesday with a lesson for you to teach you some conversation English. Sorry that I am 6 minutes late. I apologize for that, but here I am. We've got an amazing lesson today. We're talking about cultural differences, which is a great topic. My lessons are designed to really give you the opportunity to be able to express yourself and share with us about things going on and the way that you feel about things. So yes, always happy to hear what you have to say. I think that I see, oops, Yuki and Michaela are already here with us, and several others who are not speaking up yet, and that's fine. These lessons are really, you can sit back, iron some shirts, cook some dinner, do whatever you're doing, or you can participate. Absolutely no problem. Yeah, it's as you like. So let me pull up our first questions for today. Like I said, our topic this week is cultural differences. Next week, one of you asked me if I could do Greek mythology. We're doing Greek mythology, so I'm going to learn a lot. I think it could be really interesting. Hey, Lorena. So yeah, so this week, cultural differences, and we're traveling around the world. We're going to find out what everybody thinks. If you don't already follow my account, you can see it just sort of like floating down this way, or this way maybe is better. I don't know. Yeah. So hello to Soledad. Nice to see you here, and Alessio as well. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this annoying banner. I have to look over here to do it. This is really not an ideal solution, but you know, it is what it is. I think I need to try bifocal context or something. So let's see. Let me find our topic, pull up our slides, and we can get going. And where is it? Let me see. Hold on. I can't find it. It has disappeared. So let's see. Oh, Yuki, you poor thing. You have me now in a huge format. This must be atrocious for you. I have no idea where my slides are. That's so weird. Because, let me see, recents. Here we go. I hope that that's right. Yes, that looks like it's correct. Okay, so no idea what's going on, but yeah, it is what it is. Here we go, plopping over there. Let's see who else we have here on board with us. Go back to the comments. Hello, Kaluna, darling. Kaluna, were you the one who actually wanted me to talk about Greek mythology? I think it was you. Hello, Dimithu. Hello. Hello to Leah as well. Welcome, everyone. All right. So cultural differences, understanding that, let's get kind of an idea. How many countries have you visited? Is it between, that's really hard to read, the A. So 0 other countries, you've never been abroad. So we use the word abroad. Let me write in the comments here. Abroad, that's when you go to another country. You go abroad. Have you never been abroad? Then you would answer A. B, 1 to 2, 5, C, 3 to 5, or D, 6 plus. Which one can you answer? Hello, Carmen. Nice to have you here. So let's see. Dimitri, why are you upset? I think that must be somehow wrong. I don't know. So let's see. So, all right, Yuki's saying D, 6 plus. I'm saying D, 6 plus. Many of you know that I love to travel. If given the option, I'm out of here. Renid, 3 to 5. Okay. And Soledad, D as well. Big traveler. And so as a follow-up question to this, which country did you stay the longest at? And what did you learn? So for me, the longest I've ever stayed in a country was outside of the United States, like visiting as a tourist. That doesn't really count, is Cape Town or South Africa. So South Africa, the longest we were there for a long time, like 3.5 weeks, I think, maybe even a month. I think a month. And so that's the longest. And I learned it's complicated, right? I mean, South Africa is a very complicated country. It's beautiful, but there are lots of different problems that go around there as well. So let's see, D, but only in Europe. Okay, Michaela, Alessio D, Lorena D. So we have a lot of travelers here. So what would you say, where's the place that you've been to the longest? I'm going to guess, Alessio, for you, it's Spain. That's what I'm going to guess. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, so what can you tell me? And I think Yuki, probably for you, I'm going to guess the United States. Leah, Hong Kong for 9 years. No way. You worked as a babysitter. And in this case, probably more than just a babysitter, probably a nanny. If you were with one family, you were probably a nanny. 2 weeks maximum. I was living in America for about 5 months. I thought it was even longer. Okay, then I misunderstood that. Yeah, you're right. Spain. So, Alessio, how long with you with Spain? 15 days, France. Okay. And is there anything that you can take away from having a long period of time in one country? I think New York City, and learn more in the Cairo. So you want to go to Cairo, maybe? I meant 5 years. Yeah, I thought it was much longer. 5 months. Maybe it was 5 months. Maybe when you were there with a host family. Yeah, I thought it was much longer. Okay. Anyway, so Yuki, I'm sure you learned a lot. I'm sure there are things like, for me, having lived in a foreign country for so long, there are things that you naturally miss about your culture. And then there are things that you feel like, it's kind of better here, you know? Yes, as a nanny. Yes. Okay. Okay. Wow. That must have been such a cool experience to be a nanny in Hong Kong. Did you like it? Was it cool? Where do you come from originally as well? Please let me know. I'm writing down some of these things. Like I have Abul Fazi's name written down, so I will get that right the next time. And Leo, where are you from? Because this is one of those places that I sometimes forget. So I'm writing these things down. All right, it's hard enough for me to remember where I come from, so please excuse me. Moving on to number 2, let's see what we've got. And let's see, where are we headed to? So we're going to talk about people in your culture. We did something similar to this yesterday in our live stream on Instagram. And so I want to find out about how people tick. When you talk about how people tick, how they behave, and I'll write the word. So how does he tick? What is their mentality? What do they think about how someone ticks? So I'll just write the word tick just to kind of put it up there. But you say how. I always rewatch my live streams to try to improve. And I noticed like several times yesterday, the little thumbs up guy was going on. I didn't even realize it. Actually, I love Hong Kong more than my home country, Indonesia. I can imagine Hong Kong has great energy. I've never been to Indonesia or in and neither Hong Kong as well, but yeah, I don't know. I was doing a live-in nanny while studying at university in America. Okay, so you were a nanny as well during your studies. Yuki, I didn't think I realized that. I don't think I knew that. Okay, so we have here, do people in your culture, ... Doop. So celebrate birthdays with big parties. Are birthdays a big deal in your culture? Yes, no, or is it a personal thing? Like in my culture, people often celebrate birthdays. I never do. I like to hide on my birthday. In fact, this year on my birthday, I asked my family to not say it's my birthday. They had one time in the morning, presents, happy birthday, and then the rest of the day, no birthday. I don't want to hear about it. And it was the best because it's so much pressure for me to have all of that attention. I don't like it for things like that. It really freaks me out, which is my daughter is the opposite. Like you have to say the whole day, are you having a good birthday? How's your birthday? Everything your birthday? And I'm like, no, So she was kind of like annoyed because she wanted to constantly ask me about my birthday, but yeah, no. So celebrate big birthdays with parties, or you don't do that. I think in some cultures you do not celebrate your birthday. You celebrate the Christian day that your name is named after, or the saint that your name is named after, the day that your saint's day, I guess. I don't know. Or also wear traditional clothing on special occasions. I wish we had traditional clothing in the United States. Unfortunately, we do not. It's very sad because I think it would be wonderful. I think our national clothing is jeans and sweatpants, unfortunately. So, yeah, so not so much here. And in Germany, everybody thinks that everyone wears the Dirndl and the lederhosen and stuff, but that's really only in Bavaria, which is one state in Germany. You will never see somebody running around wearing that kind of clothing in northern Germany where I live, unless they come from that area. So that is a common stereotype about Germans that's not true. Unfortunately, because it looks great. Everybody looks great in a dirndl, the dress, and lederhosen, the pants. So, Michaela, at the age of 18, we can celebrate a big party. Okay, so when you turn 18, you celebrate a big birthday party. In the States, 16, my sweet 16. I did not do that. As you have heard, I don't like birthdays. Yeah, so let's see. Anybody else want to share anything? Otherwise, talking loudly or softly in public? Do you have something, people in your culture, do they speak loudly or is it more like just whispering? So Kaluna, today's simple eating together with nuclear family is a common way to celebrate birthdays, but for people who can afford, they do big parties. All right. Indonesians wear traditional costumes on special occasions. October 2nd is most of companies wear national garment, which is batik. I don't have my phone here. Oh, I do. I want to look up and see what your national costume is. And I would imagine, please correct me, Leah, if I'm wrong. I mean, because Indonesia is huge, right? So you have so many different people who live there. Is there one type of costume, or does the costume change depending on the area that you go? Line up patiently or push ahead in lines means. I'll be right with you, Michaela. Let me just take a look really quickly and look at the Indonesian traditional, because we need to see this. I'm curious. I'm sorry, but I just have to see this. So let's see. Ooh, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so pretty. So let me see if you can see that. Is that in focus? Let me see if I can do this and then, let me see if I can screenshot this. I'm probably going to go into, I don't know, the picture's not very clear. Done. Maybe if it's back here. No. Oh, save the photos. Let's see. Can you see it better like that? There's a gold headdress. It looks like beautiful, colorful, rich, jewel-colored garments. But yeah, thumbs up. It's beautiful. So let's see. Yeah. Depends on where and which province we're from. I thought so. I thought that would be the case. So it's very difficult to line up patiently. In Italy, we dress up during weddings. But Alessio, do you have a traditional outfit like lederhosen and dirndl, or like this in what they have in Indonesia? Let me see if I can get this to focus somehow better. Not really, huh? And I've got to go here, I think. So beautiful, beautiful, so elegant. So what we have here, Michaela, to come back to your question, is line up patiently or push ahead in lines. So when you're at the grocery store and everybody's waiting in line, and then one of the cashiers opens a new register, does everybody like wait, and the last person that was in line, like the last person to put their items on the conveyor belt, they are the first to go over, or does everyone just run for it and try to get to the cashier before everyone else? I normally prefer a little bit of special version of regular day on my birthday. Okay, no big party, but a small cake and sweet messages from friends and family. No, but in some cities they celebrate saints with historical clothes. Oh, really? So everybody dresses up? Or is it just like city officials, maybe? I can imagine this like sort of Renaissance style clothing, sort of, I guess that would be Medici. I'm not sure. All right, so I think like big feathers, big plume coming out of a hat, and a big hat. Anyway, so I have a big imagination here, as you see. So also direct or indirect communication styles. In the States, I think if I compare it to Germany, it's indirect. If I compare it to perhaps Japan, it's very direct. So it often tends to be something that you're used to, whatever you're used to in your country. So yeah. In Indonesia, but okay. In Indonesia, some ethnic some ethnicities speak loudly and some softly. Even me get culture shock when I go to another region. I get that. Okay. I prefer to celebrate on my birthday too. I just want to be at a quiet place in the mountain views or seaside. Hey, Atoko, darling. I think cabin attendants of Air Singapore wear batik. Maybe. I don't know that I've ever flown Singapore. I've flown Thai Airways, but I can't remember what they wore. All right. Oh, I understand. We run to the, yes, exactly. So if you line up patiently, you don't. Like in the States, you're in a line. It's a long line. Ding, ding, ding. The next cashier will open, and the person there is like people are so well behaved when I compare it to Germany. People wait. Like if you have your groceries, you've not put them on the belt yet, then you have the right to go over, and people wait for you. In Germany, it's like survival of the fittest. Who can get to the cash stand first? And it doesn't matter if you're back in no man's land at the end of the line, you will go running trying to reach that cashier before anybody else. So that's what that means. So yeah, you push ahead, survival of the fittest, or you line up patiently. All right, moving on. I got another little poll question for you. And let's see what we've got. What are we doing with our poll question? Interaction. So we're kind of staying in sort of like within our country and like interacting with people from other places. Interacting with people from other places on let's see. I think here. Okay. So how often do you interact with people from different cultural backgrounds, right? So how often do you have this opportunity? I find this interesting because this is what I love also about our community is I know a lot of people don't have the ability or have the option, let's say, to be able to communicate with people from around the world. And we have that 3 times a week. So I think that's wonderful that we can do that. So my question to you is, how often do you interact with people from different cultural backgrounds? A, every day. B, a few times a week. C, rarely. And D, almost never. And I think, let's say this, because we do, a lot of you come here really regularly. Thank you. That a lot of you interact with people from another culture at least 3 times a week. But let's say these classes didn't exist. How often would you have the opportunity before these lessons, because you're all friends now, This is going nowhere. How often would you be able to interact with someone from a different cultural background? So let's see. We keep line up patiently. Yeah, I would expect that in Japan. I would be very surprised if people pushed ahead. Besides this class, exactly. So not this class, not thinking of now the internet friends before your days of coming to these lessons regularly. How often did you have the opportunity to interact with other people? Rarely in real life, but when it comes to online a few times a week. Okay, that's a great answer. So C, rarely. Besides this class, I love, oh, is that from Kaluna? I love Japan's discipline and patience, especially in keeping in line. So C, rarely. Okay. Yeah, I think, in Hamburg, we have a lot of foreigners, but so maybe at a restaurant or something like that, but not really so much. It's pretty homogenous here somewhat. These days, rarely. Okay, in the past, it was different than Lorena. Okay. So I think, so yeah, so now we have a great option. Yeah, rarely. And now we have 3 times a week where we really can interact with people from other places. That's cool though, right? I love this. So once a week, I interact with a friend from Baltimore, I think. No E, maybe? No A. At the moment, we are taking a summer break. Okay. All right. So yeah. So I think that's great. It's so wonderful that we have this option where we can all interact with people from all over the world. It's a great, great opportunity for all of us. And I was thinking about it. I feel like our little class, because it's pretty much always the same people. It feels like maybe a new person comes into our universe, like maybe 1 or 2 that start to come regularly. Like it's it's our little sort of world here, even though it's public. It's kind of an interesting place, I find. I like it. So let's see. Let's move on to some idioms related to cultural differences. If you're just popping into this live stream, this is for people who don't already know English and would like to learn a little bit more. Well, you already know English, but to improve it even more, if you have hung in here this long, your English is already very good. So, okay, what is going on here? All right, something is strange in my universe. So that was 1, that was 2, that was 3. Why is that 4? That's not supposed to be 4. Let's see what's happening here. I hope this is idioms. Ay. Let me move myself over. Yes, no, and yes. All right. Yes, with caregiver of my mother and a nanny for my daughters. Where was the nanny from, Lorena? Would be wonderful if we could be real friends. Yes, but for the meantime, I'm so grateful we have our little universe here. It's our special place. So idioms related to cultural differences, like a fish out of water, which I'm guessing the majority of you already know this. Lost in translation, also a movie. Walk a mile in someone's shoes, and worlds apart. We have A, very different from each other. B, feel out of place or uncomfortable. C, try to understand someone else's life or view. And D, something doesn't make sense after being translated. Okay. Let's see. They were from Moldavia, right? Okay. So 1B, we have Ranit saying B, we have Leah saying B, we have Kaluna saying B. So 1, like a fish out of water. B, feel out of place or uncomfortable. And that can happen a lot when we travel to places that we've never been to before, that have cultures that are extremely different to ours. You can feel like a fish out of water. You can feel that even in your own backyard, right? Some people you're just like, what are they talking about? I just feel like a fish out of water. I don't understand this. It's just not my cup of tea what they're talking about. An idiom we learned yesterday. Not my cup of tea. All right. So then let's see. Let's take a look at number 2, lost in translation. Which one works best with D? Which happens to me all the time in German. 2, Kaluna is saying D, Yuki's saying D. Do we have any other Ds in our area? So Michaela is saying D. All right, so 2 is D, lost in translation. Something doesn't make sense after being translated. Did anybody see that movie? Sofia Coppola directed it with Bill Murray, and I think it was one of the first Scarlett Johansson films. I saw it recently again, and I really liked it. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, but I liked it a lot better the second time. But lost in translation. Idioms are lost in translation. Right. Yeah, kind of, right? They don't really make sense. Yes, definitely. There's more to them than meets the eye. That you can't really just like translate it word for word. Well said, Michaela. Yes, Lost in Translation. Beautiful. Okay. So you saw that film, Lorena. All right, so Yuki's on to number 3. Walk a mile in someone's shoes. You also hear people say walk a mile in someone else's shoes, either or. So Renit's saying 3. Yuki's got C for 3. Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to put my hands right here and be very, like a very good student here. So everybody's saying C. So 3, walk a mile in someone's shoes. So Ladad 2. I thought about you today. I'm so happy you're here. So walk a mile in someone's shoes. C, try to understand someone else's view, life or view. And I think this is so important when we talk about cultural differences. It's so easy to judge, right? It's very difficult. Yes, Michaela, right? It's very difficult to do, to be able to try to put yourself into what somebody else is going through, because everyone's got their story, right? Everyone's got their drama. Everyone has issues. And until you can understand why that person has those issues, it's sometimes very difficult to relate to them, to understand them. So it's something that, yeah, we should all probably try to practice doing before judging. It's hard. But no. All right. And last but not least, worlds apart. 4 is A, very different from each other. So someone who is extremely close-minded, has no interest in other people, that's a mentality that's worlds apart from mine. I love learning from other people. I can't understand people that don't want to open up, don't want to share things. I have friends that they don't tell each other things. Like for me, I'm an open book. Ask me anything. And if I didn't want to answer it, I would tell you. But yeah, I don't know. I can't, that kind of thing, that's worlds apart from my world. I want to be able to share and have people share with me. So that kind of close mentality is worlds apart from my personal way of thinking. If you would like to share something that is worlds apart from how you think about things, like people who are racist could be worlds apart from the way that you view the world, things of that nature, that would be a way of using that in a sentence. All right. So sometimes I think actually my kids' work ethic is worlds apart from mine. For better or worse, right? I will work until I fall over, and then I'm like, come on, you can do it. Let's go. But I think it's a generational thing somehow. So anyway, they never watch, so it's okay. So let's see. Let's move on to our slide number 5. And we're heading, Yuki, you will be very happy to know, back over to food and eating habits. So business tycoons are worlds apart from commoners. Beautiful. Worlds apart is used only from people from different cultures. No, it can also be mentality. I use it also for people from my own country when they are different. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I could say, I have no money. I'm very frugal, good word. I don't spend a lot of money. I'm very careful with the little money that I have. Oh, shoot. I didn't type in here. Frugal. Maybe this is even a Latin-based word. It's a very good vocabulary word for someone who does not spend a lot of money. It's a very good one. Little IELTS vocabulary word for you. But yes, I'm very frugal when it comes to spending money. So people who go out and buy tons of designer things and lots of jewelry and all kinds of stuff, that kind of spending is worlds apart from the way that I spend money. So is it equal to stingy? Ooh, look at you. Another great, great word. No. So stingy is like when you want to keep your money and you don't want to give it away. And frugal is when you are really careful with your money. You don't like spending it, but it's not like you don't want to spend it because it's yours. You're just more practical about it. They go kind of in the same direction. So I'm super happy you bring up this extra, yeah, stingy. Stingy. So, oh Lord. Anyway, you know what I mean, whichever direction I'm pointing. Stingy is more where it's like Uncle Scrooge, right? From Donald Duck. He is stingy, and a frugal person doesn't like spend money unwisely. All right, so let's move on to food and eating habits. And let me get rid of that. Sorry. And remove and add our slide. Talk my way through this. I hope this is going to be okay. Yes, that looks good. And I need to scoot over to here. Stingy is a great word. And it's a just sound. Stingy, stingy. Because stingy is not really a word, but sting is what a bee does to you. And stingy is when you are not very generous with your money. Frugala. Okay, you have a different word. Okay, here I'm going to kill this word. Okay, so risparematontora or something like that. Stingy, avado, techio. I don't know. Thank you, Michaela. So let's see. So I thought that was going to be actually a word that was somewhat, because they have in German, I think they say frugala or something of that nature. So frugal equals savers. Yeah, people who save. He's very, but it's like really like, you know, a person who really does not spend a lot of money. But you could be a saver and still spend money. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have people who save things, but they also live a little. They just don't spend everything. They keep some to the side. And a frugal person is really a person who tries to spend way less, doesn't buy things if they don't need it. They don't need it and that kind of thing. All right, so let's see. Number one, are there any foods in your culture that people might find strange, which we probably have had not too terribly long ago. But anyway, let's talk about it. Foods that in your culture that people might find strange. Well, like in my culture, you can have potato chips that taste like hamburgers, or pizza. Sorry, my Italian friends. They probably have sushi flavored potato chips now too. So that's really strange, I think. I'm trying to think. We also have something that I absolutely love. Okay, I don't know if you know the soft drink Dr. Pepper, or if you know root beer. It's kind of like a very sugary cola with a kick. It's hard to describe, but we make something called a root beer float. It's not alcohol. It's like Coca-Cola, but a little bit more intense in flavor. And you get this drink, and then you put vanilla ice cream in it, and it is so good. So I think I got the meaning. Maybe that is someone like me. Yeah, maybe. It's not really like it's kind of one of these things like, oh, they're frugal. It's not like stingy where it's really negative, but it's also like, maybe sometimes you could buy something, maybe live a little sometimes. It's kind of in that direction. So, Alessio, my Italian friends, I know it would be very difficult for y'all to find something that is not so tasty, maybe, or something that people would be kind of like, you eat that? Really? So, for my Indonesian friends, surely, America, we have a lot of junk food that's really weird. But other than that, I guess a corn dog is kind of weird. So let's see. On my mobile screen, words are not visible clearly. Kindly increase the font size background. It is not matching as well. Okay, thank you for the advice or for the tip. Thank you very, very much. It's hard to see. I don't know. But welcome to our lesson. And let's see. In a few years, we will get better in English and you in the Italian language. You will get better in English and I will still be killing your language, unfortunately. Is anybody else experiencing problems reading this? It could be because the background, I'm trying to see what your name is. Mr. Veer, I think? Yes, Mr. Veer. Can you read, are there any foods in easily? If yes, yeah, please let me know because maybe it's a question that the background colors are too strong. Maybe that's why. Okay, let me pull up new comments, but your feedback is very important to me, so please do take the time to answer me if you can. All right, so let's see. Ooh, here we go with stuff. Fermented soybean called narrow. It smells unique and very sticky. So it smells unique. I like that. That's very diplomatic. A diplomatic way of saying maybe that it stinks. I don't know. Foods in Albania that might seem unusual to foreigners include taveklosi. What is that? A lamb and yogurt casserole. That sounds delicious. Fila. What is that? A layered pancake dish. So it's a pancake that's layered, so it's stacked. So the pancakes are stacked on top of each other. Is there anything in between? Like, is there cream? Is it sweet? Is it savory? What's going on with your fila? Fila? So let's see, Leah, what have you got for me? One, yes, we call it rawan. Visually not terribly appetizing because the first black, because it's black, but the taste is so good. Okay, so is the top of it burnt? Is it seared and burnt? I guess, but sometimes that could be good. All right, so okay, Lampredotto, Florence, a street food name made from the fourth stomach of a cow. That's very specific, okay? Is it tasty? Do you eat that like on bread or I'm not sure. So octopus or natto, that's the fermented soybeans, I think that Hitoko was talking about as well. Boiled sausage with lentils in Italy is conticino con lentici. The New Year's dish. That's interesting because where I come from in the South in the United States, we eat a bean. I'll pull up the bean or a pea. I don't even know if it's a pea or a bean, but they're called black-eyed peas. And we eat those for good luck. Black-eyed peas, like the band. It's actually a food. And now okay, so this is what they look like. Actually, let me see them cooked. So this is what black-eyed peas look like. I hope that you can see that. Black-eyed peas. So they're like a little white bean and then they have a little black, like a little eyeball kind of in them. And we eat those also on New Year's for good luck, like I said. Okay, so let's see. Natto. Okay. I love that a lot. Oh, so you know it. Okay. I don't like lampredotto. But people say it is excellent. And you have a little throwing up face. All right, let's move on to number 2. And so let's see. For those of you, somebody's complained that they can't see or commented that they can't see the wording so well on a mobile device. If you could let me know if you can see the first line in number 1 well, that would be great, because then I know that the font size is actually okay. It's just that the visual image, the color needs to be reduced. So yeah, just so I can live and learn. Perfect really perfect pronunciation. Lie to me some more. All right, so ramen is a beef soup. It sounds cool. I would totally try it. Lentils are smaller than beans with a black eye. Yes. So totally, definitely. So it's definitely, I don't think they're in the same family, but I think it's kind of interesting that it's sort of this bean type of thing that brings good luck. I can see the perfect. Thank you. Hey, Gracie, dear. You can see the first line perfectly. Thank you so much for the feedback. Then I know that the colors are too strong. Thank you. Thank you. On my mobile, the font is just fine. Thank you, Kaluna, for the feedback. Okay. So let's take a look at number 2. And do people in your culture usually eat meals together as a family? Do people eat together, or is it more like people come and go and they eat whenever they have time? Or maybe like in my family, we always sat down and ate dinner together. We ate lunch. I ate together with my kids. And then with my ex-husband, we had dinner together as a family. But around the time that we split, my kids were getting older. My son had soccer practice 3 times a week. So it was like our schedules were kind of all over the place. So we didn't eat dinner together from, about the time that my daughter was 10, my son 14. But before that, yes, me too. I can see it too blurry. Okay, thank you, Leah. So for you, it is blurry. Got it. Yes, we have dinner together. I can't see. Aha, you can't see it. It's too blurry. Okay, good to know. Then I know I'm going to take a picture of this so that I know that the colors should be less, because if that was the case, then, all right, then you would be able to see it better. I could have just, lightened it. We eat together with my family on Sundays because we don't live together. Okay, so together with family on Sundays. Yes, and when I go back home in the South, then quite often we have a big Sunday lunch together with the whole family, which is lovely. It's really, really nice. Okay, so let's move on. We always, okay, and this is super mistake, Michaela. You can say we always have dinner together, or you can say we always dine together. So this is it, and I love that you bring this up, because this is something that native speakers say, and it's not like in English 101, like first year English. So you can say we dined at that restaurant, meaning we ate at that restaurant, or we dined together when I was younger. You can totally use that word, and D-I-N-E. We dined together, or we dined simple past. Oh, not that. Oh, if I type something wrong, I have to go behind my little magnifying glass here. It's better today. So dine is the verb to dine, to eat. Thank you for making that mistake. We learned something new then because of that. We used to have meals together, but recently getting less and less. Okay. Yeah, I mean, things change, right? Sometimes, like in my situation, I really do not like to eat at night. Like I've told you before, weirdo me, past 2 p.m., I really don't need to have a dinner. I don't need to have a meal, maybe a handful of nuts or something very, very light. And so then Peter comes home, and you want to be social, right? And so Yeah, sometimes I just sit and watch him eat. It's kind of creepy, but I don't know. You kind of got to do you, but you don't want to be antisocial somehow. It's a complicated thing sometimes. So last but not least, I mean, generally speaking, I always dine with my husband. This is my favorite time of the day. Yes, I'm sure. I'm from India. Ah, okay, good. And what about with you and your family? Then, yeah. So, last question for food and eating habits. In your country, sorry, in your culture, is it polite to finish all the food on your plate? Why or why not? So, what can you tell me? Finish all that food, or yeah, or not? Because this is a thing. Like, I think in some cultures, if you finish all the food, it would be rude for your host to not add more food to your plate. So, yeah. And in the States, if like for proper etiquette, I think nowadays nobody follows this, but in my day and age, eating like properly, you would leave the last bite on your plate to sort of indicate that you are finished. Then with your fork and your knife on your plate, and then you're done. So you would leave the last bite. That was considered good manners. But I probably wouldn't do that today because I'm not so, I don't know, educated anymore. Yeah. What about in your country? How does that work? Should you eat everything on your plate and show that would show you're finished, or would you say that it's more polite to just leave something or leave an amount on your plate? It doesn't matter. It's nice to finish all of the food in Argentina. You showed you liked it. Here it is polite and even appreciated. It shows you enjoyed the meal. So it doesn't add pressure on the host to give more. So, because I think like in some Middle Eastern countries, I think that you're supposed to leave food on your plate. Otherwise, they feel like you want more. Is it possible for you to give listening lessons at level A1? Woo. You speak so fast that I cannot understand you because of the speed of your speech. You can always ask me to slow down, but this is definitely not for A1 folks. Your writing is really good, so you should be able to understand me. But this is more for people who have advanced English. But if there's ever anything that I say too fast that you do not understand, you're always more than welcome to say, hey, didn't really get that. And maybe as an idea, what you can do as well is that you can watch the replay of this and slow me down. Just knock me down half a step, and so that's also an option. But I appreciate your comment. I appreciate you being here, and I would say try to participate, try to understand, and if there is something you don't really understand, then you're always free to ask. Finishing all the food on your plate is not considered rude, rather appreciated because it shows that the food was great. Yes, finishing all the food is considered as good manners. Not right now, watching from Bangalore. All right, cool. If you leave food on the plate, it means that you didn't appreciate it, or that you don't appreciate it. So I suppose it's better to finish. For which culture is it impolite to finish all the food? I think it's the Middle East. Let me ask our bot friend and see. We know he lies. I'm making it a him. So sorry about that, guys. It's polite to finish all the food, and I'm happy if people ask me for another round. So you can ask for seconds. So to ask for seconds. That means that you would like more food. So may I have seconds, please? That could be another way of saying that. I would think I would not, in Japan, I think I would be too scared to ask someone for seconds. I would feel like that's like insulting or something. Okay, that's good to know that. All right, let's ask the bot, which country is it rude or I don't even know if it's rude. It's just more like it shows them you want more. Country, should you leave food on your plate to show to show you are finished? All right, let's see. Yes, it's polite. I just can't stand people filling their plate and then leaving more than half of the meal on the plate. Definitely. Japanese would be over the moon when the guest cleared the plate. Even better when they asked for a second plate. I am so surprised. I would never have the guts. I would never have the courage to ask for more. All right. So in China, it is traditionally polite to leave a small amount of food on your plate. What about the Middle East? We don't have Muhammad here today. Middle East, let's see, or Arab countries. So in many Middle Eastern countries, particularly in Arab countries, it's the same. So in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, and the Gulf states, leaving a small amount of food on your plate can also be a sign of respect and satisfaction. So to leave a little bit of food in China and in Middle Eastern cultures, then you're showing that you're full. They don't need to offer you more. You're satisfied. All is good. So let's move on to some phrasal verbs that deal with cultural differences. Let me get rid of that one, to dine. Let's see. So we have number 6. I'm a little off here. I think we're going to run in again. I think this is this. Yes. I've mixed my slides up somehow. So I have to scoot over to here. All right. So let's see. Okay. So phrasal verbs, we've got it. So we have 1, look down on. 2, blend in. 3, grow up with something. 4, clear up, like a misunderstanding. So A, not stand out in a new culture or place. B, be raised with certain customs or values. C, think one culture or way is better than another. D, fix a misunderstanding or confusion. Which one works best, for number 1, to look down on? So all foods used to have a small life. Like the shelf life was short. Those foods were killed for us. Leaving food is rude to those small life and someone that prepared this food. Yuki, that's so true, right? Okay, so that's kind of a historical context where you have that food, you didn't get it from a grocery store. Somebody had to butcher that cow. It was probably expensive. There wasn't a lot of it. So to eat the food on your plate or leaving it was rude, and not really respecting the life that was given for that. I like that. Okay. So we have one, Kaluna is saying D, then she changed it to C. Lorena saying C. 1, look down on. C, to think one culture or one way is better than another. So you can have a culture that looks down and says, that's not such a nice culture. Our culture is so much better. But you can have this also in daily life as well, where people look down on other people. Unfortunately, religion, social class, different types of jobs, looks, lots of things can make it a situation where we can either be looked down upon or we can look down on other people. So yeah, unfortunately, people are judgmental. So to look down on someone, you are judging them or you judge a culture. Number 2, to blend in. What have you got for me for number 2? Number 1, like everyone has guessed, is C. What have we got for number 2? What can you tell me? Number 2. Number 2. Any guesses? To blend in. So Kaluna's saying A, and let's go with Kaluna. So to blend in, A is to not stand out in a new culture or place. And again, this is one of these where you can use this in the context of culture. We can blend in with a new culture. Yes, Yuki, exactly. A, to not stand out and in a new culture or a place. But sometimes when we go to a new place, let's say we start a new job, then we want to blend in perhaps. We don't want to just stand out. I moved so many times in my life that when I moved I moved cities as a child a lot. So I started new schools a lot and I wanted to blend in. I didn't want to stand out. I just wanted to be as like neutral as possible till people got to know me. So yeah, to blend in. And when we travel, then we try to blend in with the locals so that we don't stand out. Like if I go to a Muslim country, it wouldn't be really respectful for me to wear a miniskirt, right? Perhaps. So I try to blend in, wear a long skirt, wear a long dress. It's just, the respectful thing to do. Number 3, grow up with something. Okay, to grow up with something. Which one do you think works best with number 3? 1 was C, 2 was A, and 3, what can you tell me? Kaluna's saying B. Yuki's saying B. And any other guesses? Michaela and Lorena. Okay, so yes, growing up with something. So B, to be raised with certain customs or values. And this is a lot where our culture comes from. We grow up with certain things that are just the way that someone does something. Blend in sounds familiar to, it sounds similar, yes, to fit in. Blend in, yeah. Yeah, fit in, blend in, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Those are good sort of synonyms. Fit in. But blend in is more like you don't want to stand out, and fit in is more that you want to belong. Yeah, so not so much. They go kind of in a similar vein, but then they go away. So fit in, I'm like one of you. We're all the same thing, but I guess you kind of have to blend in to fit in. I guess that's a good way of saying that. Phrasal verbs are essential. We need to know. Please teach us more and more. I do every week. I teach phrasal verbs every single week. So you need to join more and more. All right, so let's see. We've got number 4, clear up a misunderstanding, which is obviously D, since that's the one we've not had, to fix a misunderstanding or confusion. So we need to clear this up. So we have an argument, and I'm like, let's clear this up. Really, we're such good friends. Let's just clear it up and get over it, and we'll sit down and talk to each other. And yeah. So Yuki, I really love your fit in with blend in, because I think that's an interesting, 2 interesting phrasal verbs that kind of work in the same direction. I hope our next slide is going to be easy to see. You'll need to let me know, please, how it looks for you. Hopefully, fingers crossed that it will be clear. All right, why is that not working? Here we go. And so we need slide number 7, but I'm a little off here today. So not really. And I think I need to move over here. And ta-da! All right. So blend in is a way of showing respect, yes, for that culture, exactly, but not really fitting into that culture totally. Absolutely, Yuki, exactly. It's probably difficult to fit in. It would be very difficult for me to go to an Asian culture and fit in. I can probably blend in, but I could try to blend in more. But yeah, I love that. That's exactly correct. Beautifully said. All right, so number 1, I hope you can see this a little bit better than the last one. And let's see. So number 1, what is the most important holiday in your culture and how is it celebrated? So most important holiday in your culture, how is it celebrated? And I think in the States, like this, I've had this question before. And I had read somewhere that actually that Halloween is the most celebrated, Halloween and Thanksgiving, because they are not religious holidays. So Thanksgiving is the day where we all sit together in a family and we give thanks for the good that has come our way. Halloween, I think many people know, you dress up in fun costumes and party at night. But I looked it up, and it seems actually that in the States, Christmas is the biggest holiday when it comes to consumption because people spend the most money. And and even people who are not Christian sometimes also put up a tree or get presents or that kind of thing. So I was surprised to read that, because I would have thought Thanksgiving and Halloween, because they are secular. So if something is not religious, it is secular. Oop, I keep doing that. Dang it. Secular. Those are secular holidays. Thanksgiving and Halloween. They are non-religious. So let's see. New Year, New Year's Day. So in Japan, we pray, I think. Christmas season is the most important holiday in our culture. As early as September, some houses or even establishments start decorating their places. Wow. Okay. Kaluna, I thought you were in Indonesia. Am I wrong? Please help me. I think Christmas. Yes. In Italy. Yeah. So probably Christmas in most Christian countries, I would think. Yeah. Christmas as well. Yeah, Christmas. But for countries where Christianity is not necessarily the most important religion or the biggest religion, let's say, what would you say? So Eid, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, right? Eid, it's a big day at the end of Ramadan, and Kurban. Okay, Kurban I've never heard. Ramadan, yes, but Kurban, not. Okay. All right. So then let's see. Anything else? Number 2. Do people in your culture celebrate birthdays? We have that kind of already. So let's not do that. Let's move on to number 3. In your opinion, should people living in a new culture follow local customs or keep their own traditions, and why? What do you think? Number 3. No matter what religion or nationality or generation or gender you are, we all celebrate New Year's Day in Japan. That makes sense. Yeah. I don't know why I don't have New Year's on here, because that's true. I would think that too for Western countries. But also Independence Day is an important holiday for us, not only for Christianity, which, yeah, you mean, Lorena, I think you mean for not Christmas, you mean New Year's? I don't know. Okay. So what would you say about it with people? Let's see. So I'm an American living in Germany. And I have pretty much, I have to say, given up like all of my American holidays. It's like, it's no fun if you're the only one celebrating 4th of July, or you're the only one celebrating, St. Patrick's Day or whatever day it is. So at some point, like it was like the first year I lived in Germany was really depressing, because like my first year of not celebrating 4th of July, of not celebrating Thanksgiving, really. Although I think we did do it Thanksgiving, but it was not, the way that I knew it. I couldn't get sweet potatoes, back then. Nowadays you can get all kinds of food, but back then you had to special order a turkey. I mean, nobody ate turkey. So, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I'm going to pop up your little idiom there. Yeah, kind of, right? Not only for, okay, that was that. Secular, I think, is Independent Day. Yeah, so New Year's Day is a secular holiday. Independence Day is a secular holiday. Exactly. Good examples. Exactly. All right, so let's move on. And I think that we're going to move into a video if I can figure out how to share this. Let me get rid of this. And I think I'm going to make myself teeny tiny. Oh, wait, that needs to go. Remove and get away. Delete. Remove. Okay. So, what is that? So Durga, Puja, and Diwali are the most important holidays in our country. The first one I've never heard. Hey, Mohammed. Yes, welcome. Christmas holiday is celebrated also by people who are not Christian. Yes, I think so too in the States as well. Sometimes that you have people who celebrate and they are not Christian. Maybe they don't celebrate the religious aspect, but they put up a tree or they give presents or something like that. All right, so I'm going to try to play a video for us. Let's see, I have to look over here to see if I can get it. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. So just to kind of set the scene, we have two ladies from two very different cultures. And so my point or my question to you is, what can these ladies do to try to kind of get to know each other, to try to, because their cultures are very different. And let me see if this is going to work. Let me put myself here. Oh, I'm not here. Can you hear me at least? So I don't, oh. All right, let's see. Let me get that to play again. What are some things that these ladies can do so that they can kind of interact with each other, get to know each other's culture, be a little bit more open-minded. Maybe you can also, just because this is really just an opportunity to practice English, you can tell me some of the things that you think might be why they may have problems sort of relating to each other. All right. So typo error holiday. Okay, no worries, all good. 3, yes, 3 was, hold on. Oh, I think it was the holiday. In your opinion, should living in a new country, people should follow the local customs? That is a way to show my respect that new hometown, not only international moving, but also local moving. Each region has their own culture. You are so tiny. It was really tiny, but you have a big screen, so that's better for you. Okay, so yeah, what can you tell me? Let me share the video again. I will disappear and you can see this video again. Hold on, let me see, go to here. So I hope you can hear me at least. So what steps can these women take to set aside their cultural differences? No, to double and get to know each other better. What can they do? What might be things that they have problems relating to each other? Just start sharing their way of living without judging each other. Yeah, like, to each his own. Different strokes for different folks, an idiom we learned yesterday. Yeah, maybe try to find things that you have in common, like, certain food or a TV show, because different, maybe they have different religions, maybe they have different cultures, they have different clothing that they choose to wear, but there's always something that you can find that you can relate to someone. So maybe the dress code has a big difference, but if they talk and introduce their culture, they may be able to connect and have understanding. And that's really the thing. I think, like, with connecting with someone, the second that you see, like, I can learn something from them, or, hey, they like that too. That's so cool. Maybe they both love whoever, I have no idea, some K-pop band or something. So I think looking for commonalities when we have these situations where our cultures are so different, that's very important. Hello to you, Ali. I am from Pakistan and I'm learning about English speaking. Can you tell me about speaking? I can highly recommend you checking out on this account on English with Jenn 123. Take a look in the videos section. I have about 20 something videos where you can listen to stories that I read, and then you can practice them and you can record yourself. That's what I would recommend to you. I advise them to change the direction of the position of their chair first. Yeah, like don't have your backs to each other. Very bad body language. These two women are worlds apart. Great use of that idiom. But they don't have to be, right? It's just the outward appearance. Maybe, maybe they have more in common than they really realize. And that's the hope. That's definitely the hope. Let's move on to marriage. Okay, Loretta, what have you got to say? If they talk to each other, even if they may look different, they can still have things in common. Exactly, right? I think they could talk about music, since music is universal, a universal language where it connects all differences. Totally, right? Absolutely. Music's a good one. So we could talk about music. They could talk about food. What else could they talk about? Don't try to find differences in each other, but first try to find something in common. I would just say, hi, how are you? Yeah, like a simple, hey, how's it going? And maybe one person comes from a different culture and you can see that obviously, maybe the blonde lady or maybe the other lady. And so where do you come from? Right? Which is one of these questions that nowadays is a little tricky because it's kind of like a not politically correct thing to sometimes ask someone. But I don't know, I still love it. Like, people hear my accent. The first thing that in Germany, when I speak German, and the first thing they ask me is, where are you from? And it's such a great conversation starter. So I always tell people, don't worry about your accent too terribly much. Try to worry that people understand you. And that's the most important thing, because having an accent can open doors for you to people. It gives them something to ask you. I love your answer, Yuki, finding common ground. Yes. Can you tell me one thing which tense is essential? So Ali, if you have a question about learning English, that's wonderful. Please send me an email and I will get back to you. But right now we're talking about cultural differences. And if you really want to learn English, then I highly recommend you following this account. Here, I'll even pop it up for you. Hold on. And coming and participating every week, because this is how you learn English, is actually practicing. This is it. This is it. Every day. Well, not every day. Oof, every day. No, not every day. But if you come regularly, I promise you, it's impossible not to learn. I promise you. So that's my account. Hope to have you on board. And let me move back and see what you have to say here. I think they can talk about families, their culture, their habits. I think, Michaela, you said fashion and makeup, right? It's always a good one. So let's move on to marriage now. Oh, actually, yes, we're moving on to marriage. And let's see. Not that. Doop, doop. There we go. And I have to scoot over to here. Okay. So at what age do people typically get married in your culture? Would you say A, under 20, B, 21 to 25, C, 26 to 30, D, 31 to 35, E, 36 and older, F, it really depends on the individual or the family, and G, marriage isn't a strong cultural expectation. If you get married, cool. If you don't, it doesn't matter. So what would you say? What is it in your culture? I think in Germany, it's later and later, like D. And when I was younger, and living in the South. In the States, it was kind of mixed. So in the South of the United States, the southern part, it's very conservative and religious. And there, of course, get married early, have kids early, do everything early. So really, it was more like B. And if in other parts of the United States, it was more like C, 26 to 30. So C and D mostly. Okay. All right. And let's see, Yuki, we can start our conversation like this. I like your outfit. The design is so delicate and beautiful. Is that what your country's is that your country's traditional dress? I love that. And I think that's great to start out with a compliment. Yuki, that's wonderful. Hey, Karina, welcome, dear. Yeah, so I think that's wonderful when you start out with a compliment that takes the edge off. And especially if it's a really like something you really mean. Like some people say things just to, say things. But if you mean it from your heart, you can feel when someone's giving you a legitimate compliment. And so, yeah, so starting something with with kind words is wonderful. Kind words and curiosity. Yuki, I love it. Emotional intelligence at its best. All right, so Karina, C, it could be better. Okay, so what do you mean by it could be better? What does that mean? Mohammed says B and C. Okay, I'm surprised. All right, so C and D. E is the age for the second marriage. Okay, yeah, that's hilarious. All right, so let's see. In Albania, it used to be B, but nowadays it's E. And that's a big shift. All right, so in my country, it's mostly A and B. And G, what is your name? I think you're new, so welcome. If I've not already said hello to you, A and B. And which country are you from? Curious about that. A and B, that's very young. Share a friendly smile to start a conversation, also great. We used to get married around B, but nowadays it's D. Yeah, B. Wow, that's a big jump too. That's a big, I like how Renit said it, a big shift going from one thing to another. A, wow, yeah. So Mr. Vera, cool, you're still here. That rhymes. Some people say as long as you are strong enough, number does not matter. Okay. So strong enough in which sense? Like maybe do you mean financially stable or do you mean, what do you mean by that? I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Okay, Toko, you've divided it for men and for women. So you say C, 26 to 30 for women and D, 31 to 35. So women traditionally or typically, let's say in Japan, marry an older guy. All right, that's interesting. I think these numbers are pretty cool to learn the differences. Yeah. I think in Germany, it's D, 31 to 35, I would say nowadays. Physically, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure what he means. Used to be 20, but nowadays, I think between 21 and 30. I've never been married, even though I am 38. And for you, Leah, in your culture, is that okay? Do you get a lot of pressure or are people understanding? And you're in Indonesia, right? I have to sometimes write these things down. Karina, B and C. Okay, B and C, all right. By that age, they've already finished their studies and are mature enough to take on greater responsibilities. And back in your day when you got married, was it younger or is this changed? I think everything is in like the Western world, everything has kind of gotten later somehow. All right, so it's Saudi Arabia. It's mostly the ambition of young people to start a family, but absolutely not under 18 or 19. Okay, thank you for sharing that. As economic stability is the key to an approved marriage. Let's be practical. Life is hard. Yeah. In Italy, there is a difference of age from women and men. Generally, women are younger. Yeah. Listen, I told you that I was doing live in nanny that my baby girl will get married this October. That's so cool. All right. So, okay, Yuki, you were a nanny, and now your little baby girl, she's getting married. Oh, that's nice. In my culture, so Albania, it's a lot of pressure if you don't get married by the age of 30 or till you're 30. All right. So still some cultures where there's pressure. I think, you might have peer pressure. Like if all of your friends are getting married, then it's kind of weird when you're not. I think there's still something like that in the Western world, but typically, yeah, I don't know. Not so much, not like in the past. It should be be strong enough. Okay. So physically strong enough or strong enough, like, okay. Best wishes to your daughter, Yuki. Yeah, her little nanny daughter. That's so nice. Okay. Sticking with marriage, this is a super interesting topic. I have some questions for you. So let's take a look at those. And why is this not working? Let's work. Let's not cause me any problems here. So the next one, and let's see, I need to scoot over to here. Ta-da. And let's see. So got some questions for you. I hope these are a little easier to read. I would suggest after 70. If it's still there, it's worth it. I have to say, I kind of agree. I get that people get married. I have no problem with marriage. It's a wonderful thing. But, I'm happily divorced and I don't need to ever be married again. Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, no. All right. Anyway, moving on. What's a wedding like in your culture? Do you have big weddings? Do you have small, intimate weddings? Do you wear specific things? Do you have what kinds of things belong to the culture of getting married? To your marriage culture in your country. Yes, I'm Indonesian, and of course, everybody's asking and pressuring, but who cares? Good for you, Leah. Be your own woman. Poor thing. So I don't envy you. I'm sorry about that. Ali, okay, I sent a message at your email. Please reply. I will. Thank you for taking me up on that offer. I was invited for her wedding in Colorado. Oops, hold on. Let's see. I can't go, but I will have a full video of the wedding and a lot of photos. I can't wait to see that. Oh, that's so sweet. Karina, things have changed in my country. Women now get married between the ages of 25 and 35 without any problem. All right, so that's in Peru. There's no pressure. It's when they choose to do so, which I think that's better. That's nicer. You don't have this tick, tick, tick time pressure, and then you end up marrying the wrong person. And yeah, take your time. Definitely. And I think that the person you choose when you get married later, is going to be a better fit than earlier. Like I met my ex-husband when I was 21. No offense, but what did I know at 21? We didn't get married at 21, but we met then. And that was it, so that was what I knew for 19 years. And so, but really, did I have great decision-making skills, like partner picking skills at 21? No, not at all. Not at all. That was bad. So in our culture, weddings seem to have a Western touch, but mostly it's done in a church. Okay. So they get married in a church. All right. And so do we have, let's try to see which culture invites the most people. So in the States, you have it depends on the family, but 100, so 80 to maybe 150. That would be about the amount that you would invite. But we do something that they don't do here, and they probably don't do in your culture. But when you get married, you have the woman who's the bride, the man who's the groom, and then you have all of these other people that are with you in your wedding. The men have groomsmen. Sorry, this is the man. The men have groomsmen, and the bride have bridesmaids. and everyone has the same dress and you all look the same. And this is big tradition. And most Germans think this is so weird. Like, why would you do that? And I don't know why we do that. I'm not sure if they do that in the UK, but we do. We have big weddings, big wedding parties, big bridal parties. Recent wedding is Western style, including mine. Oh, you had that. Okay. A big wedding here. The whole village will come. Oh, wow. Most weddings are at Catholic church ceremonies. Okay. But do you have, is it just the bride and the groom? Or do you have all of the bridesmaids and the groomsmen as well in your culture? It's the same with ours with color motifs. Oh yeah, it's all got to be color coordinated. In Italy, everything is celebrated in one day. Okay, that's important to know too, right? Lorena, super point, because some weddings, I think our Indian friends, you have weddings that go for multiple days. I don't know if that's part of Hindu or other religions. I don't know. The Muslim. So in Italy, everything is celebrated in one day. The wedding ceremony, the restaurant, the photos, the guests. Personally, I am not a big fan of that. Aha. So you would prefer to spread it out a little bit. In the States, we have the evening before the wedding. You go to the church and you rehearse, you practice getting married. So you practice walking down the aisle, the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, everybody's there. And then you have a wedding, you have a dress rehearsal, you have a rehearsal reception. And I'm mixing this up. That's not correct. It was in my head. Now it's gone. But you have a dinner before the wedding, and you invite all of the people who are part of the bridal party, plus your future parents-in-law, your family, just your immediate family, and everybody eats together. So you have it spread out just a little bit. No, I don't like wedding ceremony at all. Okay, so if you decide that you do not want to get married in a church, or you don't want to have, like, let's say if you don't want to have a big wedding, you can, and this is a great word. Do you know what word? Maybe I'm going to let y'all guess. There's a word that starts with an E in English, and this is what you do if you don't want to get married with a bunch of people. You just want to do it on your own. And a lot of people do this, and they go to Las Vegas. So the word is, oh, sorry, I didn't let you guess. Elope. If you elope, then you run away. No party, no big deal. Intimate wedding is great for me. We don't have bridal showers or bridesmaids here. Okay. All right, so no bridal showers. That's another good point. We have bridal showers in the United States where the bride has a party and all her girlfriends and her sisters and all the women get together and they give presents to the bride, and that starts to help her collect the things that she will need for her home. You usually have another great word, a bridal registry, and all the men are falling asleep. So I will move to the next topic very soon. Registry. So you can have a bridal registry, and this is where you go to a shop and you say, ooh, I like these plates, and I like these cups, and I like this pot, and you put it all on a list. And then when people want to buy something for you, then they can take a look at your registry and they can purchase something off of that list. Moving on. So what are some pros and cons of marrying someone from a different culture? Do we have anyone who is married or has been in a relationship perhaps with someone from a different culture? Or what do you think could be a good thing and a bad thing about that? I saw the drive-through wedding in Las Vegas on TV, right? Only America, right? A drive-through wedding. Yes. Lorena, would you do a drive-through wedding? So let's see. My nephew got married at the hotel in Tokyo Disneyland. No way. And Mickey and Minnie were there. Mickey and Minnie's guarantee is so expensive. Yeah, it's expensive to have those guests. I guess I could imagine. So, all right. So, what do you think are the good things and the bad things about being married, about marrying someone from another culture? What can you tell me? What do you think? I can tell you because I have been in, those have been really expensive. Yeah. Cultural differences, mostly in beliefs, values, mostly is the common bump in our relationship. Yeah, yeah. You just have differences. I think even like if an Italian and a German would get married, even though they have the commonality of religion and European culture, it's still a difference. It's just a difference. In Albania, if you expect to get proposed by a woman, mostly you will stay single because that might happen once in a blue moon. So, Renee, do you mean that like women do not ask men to marry them? I think that you're on another question. Yes, you're on number three. Is it socially acceptable? Yes. Yeah. The same in the States, like, and yeah, women don't typically ask, it's the men, and we want them to prepare a big thing, and it's all about the ring. And, in the States, it's really like if you get engaged, she's like, oh, I'm engaged. The first thing every woman says is, "Ah, let me see the ring." It's you just do. I just recently ran into a friend who's from a different culture, and she's like, "Oh, I just got engaged." I'm like, oh, "Let me see the ring." So it's really horrible, but it's not meant to be horrible. Does that make sense? It's just like what you do. You get excited about the ring. Religious culture may be a problem. In Peru, the wedding celebration depends on what the couple wants. It can be a big party with friends, that's the most common, but they can get married wherever they want. It depends on the couple. Cultural richness, but also clashes. Ooh, I like that. And clashes, like something that just butts, just clashes. Like if I wear, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like colors that don't work. Like things that don't work together, they clash. Great word, Michaela. I mean, different religions. Okay, I was trying to blend in to different family cultures. Trying to blend into different family culture is difficult for someone, especially if you have a hard time to please the in-laws. Ooh, I had that. I had that big time. They did not want him to marry an American. I don't have any family who have gotten married with a foreigner, but some of my friends did. I personally don't have any problem with that. In the old days, parents were against cross-cultural or race, but nowadays most people are open-minded as long as they have the same religion. Okay, so religion is key, race not so much, and different, cultures totally fine too. In Indonesia. Okay, cool. Yeah, I could say the good thing is that you always are learning from each other. So like there's always something new that you can kind of learn from each other. A negative is like all of like my childhood, like things I grew up with, they didn't grow up with that. And I didn't grow up with childhood songs, pop culture kinds of things like that. So sometimes it's the kind of like, you don't really know that. And I don't really know that. So, but you can learn from each other. You can share it. So that's kind of a nice thing. Nice, like a bittersweet thing. It's kind of both in a way. So moving to three, moving to four, is it socially acceptable for a woman to ask a man to marry her? To a man, a woman to ask a man to marry her in your culture? And is marriage a personal choice, or do family and culture play a role in the decision? So I'm talking about like arranged marriages. What can you tell me? I would love to arrange my children's marriages. I would be so good at it. They don't want that. Actually, I think they would. I think they would like it, but it's just not common nowadays. But I think I'd be very good at it. Yeah, but the stories we tell ourselves, maybe it's good that they don't really allow me to do this. So wait to see if you have anything to say. And if not, I'm going to go on to our next slide because we still have a couple of more things to cover. So, and this lesson is so interesting, but I know some of you are probably getting tired. So let's move on to fashion. We've talked at length about marriage, but it's nice to learn these things. So even if my husband wasn't Japanese, I have been so happy. Because, okay, hold on, I'll read it in a second. It's kind of faint right now. All right, so, I have a banner for us. Oh, cancel. And do this. And let me pull up our banner. Here we go. All right. Can you name different traditional clothes from around the world? So speaking of cultures, and let's see. Oops, what happened? Uh-oh. Everything got moved. Hold on, let me see. My little magnifying. Oh gosh, hold on. Let me get rid of this and move this. There we go. Okay, here we go. All right. Even if my husband, for me, woman can also ask too if the man has a plan for her. Yeah. Okay. So maybe not asking to marry, but like, what do you have in mind for this relationship? Where do you see it going? I guess is what you mean. For me, okay, that was that with Kaluna. Even if my husband wasn't Japanese, I have been as happy as I am right now. I'm so happy for you, Yuki and Chama. So why not? But it is not very romantic for the woman. Yeah, you don't have a good story to tell, right? It's kind of the story in a way as well. 4, it must be a personal choice. Absolutely. Okay, so any kind of clothes. Yeah, you're welcome, Kalina. Any kind of clothes, traditional clothes that you can tell me about. And maybe you can say the country and you can say the type of clothing. And I'm going to say Lederhosen for Germany, because we don't have any. We have a baseball hat in the States. I guess that could be one. Jeans and a baseball hat. Is that traditional clothing though, or is that just clothing that people have adopted somehow? I don't know. So anything that you can tell me clothing wise, otherwise we will move on to a poll. So, okay, let's see. Chimo Tagore, Korea. Okay, I'm going to try to look that up. I don't know if you could see pictures very well when I share them here. Chima or Crema. It's hard to see. I think it's Chima. Chima. Chimo. Chimno, maybe? Oh, sorry. Chagari? Chagori. Chima Chagori. Ah, I saw this. You could dress up like this. When we went to Korea, you could rent these costumes and walk around the old palace there. Yes. So that's Chimachugori. Thank you, Yuki. Kimono in Japan and Yakuta in Japan as well. And batik we had, so from Indonesia, hijab, Muslim countries, Filipinos, and Barong, Philippines, Hanbok, I don't know what Hanbok is. I'm going to take a look and see if I can find Hanbok. Okay, so hold on. Hanbok dress. This looks this looks Korean as well. This looks very similar. Reject. Like that. That looks very similar to me. And it's called Hanbok. Okay. In Indonesia, when we marry someone, that means that we marry the family as well. I witness and we're listening to complaints and problems of people around me who were struggling to get along with their in-laws. I bet. Aloha shirt for Hawaii. Okay, I have to look up this other one. Y'all are coming up with, so it's Azoa is so stylish. Okay, now I have to take a look at what that is real quick. Azo, why? Let me see. Nope, it's giving me some strange company. I don't know. Oh, I misspelled it. That's why. Sorry. So AOZ, AI? AI. Ooh, that's beautiful. Oh, hold on. In Peru, it's not common for a woman to propose to a man, and in my opinion, men should be the ones to do it because they tend to be less mature, and taking the decision by themselves would be better. Could not agree with you more. Totally. Let's see, which country? Hanbok. It seems to be Korean. It seems to be Korean. So, and this is, and ooh, how do you say this? I looked up, I think this is what you wrote, Yuki. I don't know. This is Vietnamese, also beautiful and elegant. So long and flowy with a beautiful hat. So sorry, kimono hanbok. You know your stuff, Leah. Let's see, kabaya. I don't know. I don't know how to say that. Abaya, I think, Filipino dress, hijab, kimono, iodaya, actually. Okay, so we have a correction here. Thank you very much. Iodaya, I think is that the Vietnamese dress? Yes, yes, yes. This is the Vietnamese dress that I looked up. Thank you for the correction. Aha, some hanbok must be Chinese chagori. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, but it's fun to look at these dresses. But I think that we're going to lose all of our men. So let's move on to our next poll. And let's see. I think that we're going to move on actually to a brainstorming question, another one. And let's see. Hold on. And here we go. So how do people greet each other in different cultures? Let's take 2 minutes. In any way that you could think of the way that people greet each other in a culture, write it down. Let's do a little brainstorming activity. Let me turn my comments back on so I can see what you have to say. Anyway, you can greet someone. And let's turn on the timer. Not 2 hours. We went 2 minutes. And let's go. Any way that you can greet someone. So, or now, I think you mean bow. I think you mean bow. Love the style from Bangladesh. Okay, I have to check that out. So while we're doing our 2 minutes, I'm going to check out the style in Bangladesh. Hijab is not traditional clothing. Okay. Would you say that it's traditional Islamic clothing? I mean, is that the correct way of saying that maybe? I don't really know. I'm not sure in which category to put that into. So let me take a look at Bangladesh clothing. I think some of the Indian is also really pretty. Hold on. Bangladesh. Let's do clothing. Ooh, that is beautiful too. Hold on, I've got like men and women here. Very pretty. That's not such a good photo though. Okay, I'm gonna try to find a good, here I have one with women, but the quality is a little bit better. Here they're dancing. So Bangladesh clothing, very colorful, sort of like a tunic sort of shape. It looks like the shirt is cut higher than normal, or that it's shows your belly, and with a sash that hangs down and wraps around. Ah, so pretty. So bow, shake hands, namaste, Scottish tartan skirt, love those. That looks so great on men. Formal handshake, title, matter. What else have you got for me? Did I miss something? Bowing, handshakes, check. Like check someone or check, like this kind of thing. Ooh, okay, that's our timer. And let's see, kiss, waving, smile. Let's see, ba. I think bow. Bow. That was what that was. Bow. Okay, so those are the ones that I have on my list too. And I have a little poll question because I want to know about your culture, of course. Oops. So let me get rid of this banner here. Sorry about that. And let's see, we're moving on to our nearly the last point for today. For those of you who've hung in here for so long, yeah, thank you. This is one of those lessons that could kind of go on for the next 2 weeks. Oops, no, but it was not that. I skipped that one because we talked a lot about fashion. So let's see, let's find this one. All right. I hope it's this. So yes. Okay. What's your go-to greeting in your culture? What's the typical greeting that people do in your culture? Is it a handshake? Is it a handshake? Is it a hug? Is it a bow? Is it a cheek kiss? What can you tell me? Your teaching method, your pronunciation is well and good. Well, I appreciate that, Ollie. For me, Egyptian clothing in early civilization was so great and seems so luxurious. Definitely, like, yeah. Indonesian bow and handshake. Okay, so you bow and you have a handshake. Smiling and saying hello. Let's see. Oop, I think I might have missed something. Handshake, okay. Got it. So, and I wanted to just like, so when we see someone, you have a greeting, right? And when you say goodbye, then you can say that you have your farewells or your partings or your goodbyes. And so sometimes we do the same thing, handshake when you greet someone, handshake when you leave. Sometimes you have different things when someone comes and you meet them. Like maybe you have a handshake in the beginning, you talk to them for a long time, maybe you give them a hug, or maybe not. And I wanted to point out this word in C, because this is actually two different things. It's one of these homophones. So in this case, bow rhymes with cow. And I often wear big bows, bow that rhymes with toe. Or throw. So if you have something on a present or on your tennis shoes, you can tie a bow, like throw, or bow, like cow. Wave. In my country, yeah, in your country. So wave, yeah, hey, I don't have that one on there. Hugs for close ones and for acquaintances, waves and handshake is commonly used. Alessio, A and D. And kisses on the cheek in Italy, 1, 2, 3. What are we doing? I think in France they do 3. Well, good. Let's come here every single Tuesday at 4:30 and every single Wednesday at 3. Yeah, we'd love to have you on board. All right. So let's see. Let's move on to our last point for today. And this is a big one. This is kind of thought-provoking. So we're ending with sort of like it's a tough question, maybe. I don't know. Let's see what you have to say. If you could change one thing about your culture, there should be more on that. What would you change if you could change one thing about your culture? What would you change? No kissing in Japan. So cheek kiss mostly for elite ones. Okay, so if you're like, okay. So what about in this situation? Tell me your country and tell me what you would change. In the United States, where do I start? Seriously, where do I start? It's not so easy in the United States. It's a lot going on there. I think what I would change in the United States is the education system. Yeah, because it's difficult for the people in the United States that don't have the opportunity to travel to understand that there is a world outside of the United States. And so it's difficult sometimes for them to put themselves in other people's shoes, because it's not like living in Europe. You know, you are confronted with lots of different cultures all the time. So you are typically way more open-minded, because you know that people are different, and sometimes they do things better and sometimes they don't. But in the States, you just have this huge landmass in Mexico and Canada. And so you don't really get other perspectives. So if I could change something, let's say this, that the people would have to travel at least before their 25th birthday. They would have to leave the country. So handshake for farewell with the relatives. Poverty. Okay, so you would change the poverty. That was in India, I think, right? Let's see. Politics and education system in Peru. Same gender, kiss on the cheek. Okay, so you do that. Bureaucracy, probably. I'll go for the political dynasties that mostly result in corruption. Yeah, I get that. And in Germany, I would change the mentality sometimes of Germans. Germans don't understand how good they've got it. Like, you know, they have health insurance. It's safe, it's clean, it's amazing. And yet they have a problem understanding how amazing what they have is. They take it for granted. And I would change the mentality. I would bring in more joy. It's really difficult for Germans to experience joy. I think it's part of their history, that it's just been ingrained in them from one generation to the next, that you're not allowed to be really happy and easygoing and free. So I think I would want to change that. I would want to open Americans' eyes to a bigger world, and Germans, I would like for them to look and see how good they've got it. Have a little gratitude. I want to change the national character of being timid, okay, and unable to express one's opinions clearly. Okay, interesting, Yuki. I agree that with Michaela, with bureaucracy. I'm Italian. It's too much. Okay, so bureaucracy is a nightmare. I wouldn't have thought so somehow. Okay, so for those of you who have stayed here till the end and you're watching the replay, awesome. Why don't you come next week as well? Sign up for this account, English with Jenn 123. We will have a new topic next week. Kalina, was it you who asked for Greek mythology? It was someone here who asked for Greek mythology, and that is going to be our topic next week. Your wish is my command. Whoever asked for Greek mythology, I am going to have to educate the hell out of myself, because I don't know anything about Greek mythology. But it will be interesting. We will learn a lot. And yeah, so every week there's a new topic. I would love to have you on board with us. We've had a really nice listen today. This is what I love. Thank you for sharing. I know that it's not just, you know, something to take for granted that people come and show up and share. So thank you. That makes these lessons amazing. Sorry, that was very Donald Trumpy, sorry. But yeah, thank you so very much. And I might just do like a spontaneous live in the next couple of days. I'm not really quite sure if and or when, but I do have this microphone here so that it doesn't sound like I'm in some sort of tunnel anymore. And I am not really good with electronics, as you see, you know. And so I would just test it for like 20 minutes or so. So if you happen to be around and you want to pop by, that would be great. If not, also okay. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely day and see you soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Oh, I have to go over to here to turn this off. And